Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming on my video. This is another video from Sir Maximus. I hope you have been watching my channel. And my channel have been a blessing to you and your family, your friends, your loved ones. I deal with real life stories. Real life stories of deliverance. Real life stories of endeavors. When you walk in life, you find out that you're a champion, that you're more than a conqueror, that you're a king. Because king goes to battles and king wins. Some battles you lose, but some battles you'll win. And at the end of life, you want to end up at the winner's circle. My story is filled with triumphs, filled with setbacks, filled with delays, filled with hurts, betrayal, backstabbings, every kind of evil that you could think of, I've experienced. Witchcraft, spells, curses. But it's the making of a king, like David. Loved by many, but hated by Saul. David had issue, even in his own house. And the Bible says a prophet is not honored in his own home, nor amongst his people. I tell these stories, and in my stories you may find something that identified as who you are. You maybe have been misplaced, misunderstood, misguided, misinterpreted, rejected by the church, rejected by family, rejected on a job, rejected by a loved one. Could have marriage problems. Things just happen out of your control. But these things that happen is part of your design to let you know the sword cuts where it cuts. It divides where it divides. And at the end of the road, you'll find out that your challenges pushed you into purpose. I've made many mistakes. Many mistakes that have got many of my friends killed. Many mistakes that have caused me going back and forth to the funeral home, trying to figure when it was my time, watching the mothers grieve, watching the brothers talk about revenge, watching the paparazzis, some being buried with jewelry, some being buried with guns, some being buried with weed. None of that is worth anything when you're dead. Life is too short. And from the 80s through the 90s in New York, that's all I saw were dead bodies. That's all I ever saw was mothers grieving over their children. I wonder why God kept me. This is my channel, my redemption, my story of salvation that will help you to understand that life is not about mistakes. Life is about getting past the mistakes, getting to a place where you can look back in life and tell your story because you survived where others didn't. You are blessed to be here. You're blessed to even be able to walk or to use your hands and feet, because somebody else wished they had what you had. The dead know it nothing, and he can't say nothing, so you don't know the suffering in the grave. But my life goes back to 1983. And it was a lot of younger men that was around me. Not that they were younger men, they were young men, but older than I was. And I kind of looked up to them. I looked up to them because they were the kings of that era. They had the sports car. They had the money. And somehow in your mind, as a young man, you dreamed dreams and had visions, but they were negative dreams of, I want some of what somebody else have. When the church talks about lust, they only goes into sexual intercourse. But the Bible said the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, and the lust of the flesh. People avoid those things because they don't say, I lust after somebody else's thing. They don't consider that lust. To covet somebody's item is to lust after it. But they only look at sexual sins in the church as lust. But people lust every day. I tell my story to open your eyes, to challenge you to understand that you're different. I'm different. Because I came out of something that most people did not come out of. 1983. There were some cold times in New York. Very cold winters. I was young, but mature. Street smart, but not too smart. Because the devil always got something for you at an early age. You pick the lock, you're going to walk through that door. A young man took a liking to me. I call him a young man because he was older. And he did not live too far away from where I lived. I believe he lived 3 blocks from me. About 210th Street and Jamaica Avenue. We live at 212th Street and Hillside Avenue. We lived in a plush, high-rise apartment. Don't know how much my parents was paying for it, but it was like the Jeffersons. We had a doorman, and you had to ring the bell to come in. I felt like we were millionaires. I could feel the airplanes coming from LaGuardia Airport because we lived on the 7th floor. So there was times the planes would just fly over, almost as it was 100 feet over the building. Boy, was it a sight to see as a little boy. Sometimes I look out that window and I'm like, whoa. I could see the entire area of Queens. And I'm like, wow, what a view. But life has its challenges. And now I was going to face a giant in life. So this young man that took a liking to me, he convinced me one day to come to his house. And as I was sitting in his living room, he rolled up a joint. I've never smoked in my life, but the temptation and the lust, because Jesus said you don't have to touch a woman to commit adultery, just the thought of looking at her. One thing I know about looking at something, it opens up your senses and your imagination. But as he lit that joint, the atmosphere changed because there was a smell that came out of that joint. A smell that shifted my whole being. I never smelled that smell before. It was like a sweet smell, because I've been around those guys when they smoke weed, and I know what weed smell like. And it did something. It triggered off something in my central nervous system. It triggered off something in my soul as a young man. And I felt powerless because I wanted to leave, but I could not leave. I believe that smoke, because the smoke, that twirled around like a spirit. And as I got older, I realized that there's a significance with vapor. The Bible even said, isn't your life like vapor? That vapor got into my nostrils and gave me some kind of life. An awakening to try. Because he said, try this. And at first I was, nah, I'm cool. I don't want nothing to do with that. But something happened that overpowered me. When I took that joint, and he was just saying, it's just a little weed, just go ahead and take a puff and it's all good. I knew it was wrong. I knew my parents would kill me if they find out that I was over this man's house. Much less I did not stay in school the whole day. But the Bible says rebellion is as sin as iniquities as the witchcraft. Now I was playing with witchcraft and did not know. If you don't think that weed smoking is witchcraft, listen to my story. Because it opens you up to another dimension. Any kind of pharmaceutical, illegal drug open you to the supernatural. So I took a puff, and my body told me this was wrong because I started to cough. And whenever you coughing, that's an indication that your body is telling you this don't belong in you. I was young and dumb and did not know, but I knew something was wrong. And I took another puff. And I felt weird. I felt strange. And that smell was so sweet. What is this sweet smell? I tried to get up. And as I got up, I sat down and I saw 4 chairs. So I sat and fell on my butt because I was hallucinating. I got back up. And I felt real weird and spaced out. And I asked him, what is in this? And he said, it's just a little weed. And I'm shaking my head and I said, no, even though I never tried weed before, but this couldn't be weed. So I remember the hallucinations got more crazy. Because I was there and it seemed like there was a horseman riding from the sky with some kind of spear in his hand, and he was coming at me. And so I was like this, trying to duck left and right, trying to figure out what is going on. I was now seeing stuff that I've never seen before. This man in a helmet and a metal suit, almost like one of the video games I used to play in the 80s. He had something called a joust, Joust. It's a long spear, and he was coming at me. And I was crying out to him to help me. And I remember him saying to me, just calm down, it's just a little weed. I'll make you some tea and hopefully that you'll calm down. He made me some tea. My visions was just going in and out because I couldn't even hold the cup properly because I was just shaking. My heart was just racing. And I said, Lord, inside I felt like I'm going to die. I'm not made for this. And plus I'm too young. So I remember getting up and I made my way to his bathroom. And I look in the mirror and I'm talking to myself and I said, I don't look high, but I'm high. And I'm communicating with myself about this paranoia that I'm in, this place of illusion. But when I look in the mirror, I didn't see me, I saw another person. But I still had to communicate to try to make myself feel like I'm okay, I'm not high. Came back out of his bathroom and I was starting to feel real upset because I felt like you deceived me and I was really upset at him. But some people would say, well, you are to blame yourself. But I was a child, he was a grown man. Either he knew what he was doing or he was led by a spirit to try to destroy my life at an early age. I do not know which one. But I went to his kitchen and I grabbed a knife. The spirit of rage came up on me and the spirit of murder, and both of them was communicating with me. I was already in delusion and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to stab him. I'm going to kill him. That's what the spirits were saying, kill him. And I remember that he must have been taking a shower or something, but I pulled the curtains back with this big old knife in my hand. And I kept on asking him, what did you give me? What did you put in this weed? And he looked really scared. Because I had, whatever was controlling me was nothing but rage and anger. And even though I was young, I had the upper hand because I already had the knife and he was naked. And he kept on begging me, just put the knife down, calm down, you know. Somehow he talked me out of putting the knife down, and I did. And he said, well, you need to go home and to sleep it off because, you know. I remember trying to leave his house, staggering. Could not walk straight because of I was really high. And paranoia was hitting me. Those 3 blocks felt like 3 hours. It felt like death. I remember getting to a red light. And even though the light was red, I was walking as if it was green. And cars were honking their horns and they were cussing and saying, are you crazy? And I could hear all that in the back of my mind. But it wasn't me. I didn't have no control over this feeling or this complexity that Satan had devised for me. The only thing I knew that I needed to get home by any means necessary. I remember I got home. Finally got home. I can't recall how, but I remember laying in the bed and the whole room was spinning around me. And it must have been God that brought me forth home them 3 blocks. Because it did not spin as much until I got home. The room was just spinning. And my heart was just pounding. And I thought about dying. And I was saying, I'm just too young to die. Can we really fathom what death is really like? Can we really fathom what was in that drug? Was it PCP? Was it heroin? Was it laced with crack? Meth? Who knows? But I know one thing. It woke me up. And it gave me a lesson learned. A lesson in life. Stay out of people's house. Do not touch what you don't know anything about. God is not mocked. So as a man soweth shall he reap. I sowed into destruction and I reaped it. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of people that are catalysts that come one way and go another way, that come into your life giving you an opportunity of death. The choice is yours. Be nobody's fool. Just say no. They want to go somewhere to use your car. Just say no. You feel a vibe about it. They want to come to your house to get lit. No, not at my house. They want you to hold something for them and not telling you what's in the bag. Take it somewhere else. I thank God for sparing my life, so I could live to tell this story. Be encouraged today. Be encouraged. Whatever mistakes you've made, it's never too late. It's never too late for your life to shine. Never too late